Welcome to The Brain Dump, where we study the psychology of success. Join us as we probe the habits, rituals, and routines of top-performing artists, entrepreneurs, authors, athletes, and more to uncover the timeless principles we can all use to take our lives to the next level. Are you ready to plunge the grunge that's been gunking up your mind's eye? Great, then let's get to it.
Guys, welcome back to the Brain Dump. We've interrupted Anthony's lunch hour. He's going to attempt to... Guys, this is what multitasking is all about. And it actually falls perfectly in line with the topic that I'm going to talk about, which is you show up is 90% of the battle. Showing up is 90% of the battle. And most people don't show up for themselves. So how can you even be in the game? How can you even have the opportunity for something good to happen if you don't even show up? And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I might get a little feisty on this one.
And get a little heated. I feel it. I can feel the Austin energy is percolating. I want to unpack real quick what's happening here. I have a picnic lunch. I have my bagels. I have no napkin. You guys are going to get to see me eat live on camera, not live, but recorded on camera. I'm going to try and do it and not look like a horse as I do. But the takeaway here is like, in the light, this is about the psychology of success. And sometimes life is really, really busy and back to back things. And you just have to make it work. You just have to fit the things in. And sometimes the thing that gets pushed is our self-care, right? Like our self-care. And my girlfriend, Jamie, she was telling me yesterday, she's like, I was so busy yesterday. I didn't eat at all. I was like, no. You got to take care of yourself. And so here we are. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to eat some food while we do this.
Dude, I've been on Zooms for the last 4 hours straight. I've got 3 more after this. I barely get enough time to pee, answer a text. You know, it's like now that maybe, you know what, maybe that's the new business. Create a pee stand next to the Zoom call. Cause like, you know, I can't.
So back in my my climbing days, I would live in the back of a van and we would spend a lot of time out in the dirt, right? And men have a fundamental advantage over women, which is at any point when we need to go pee, we can just kind of whip out where we are and go. Women, it's a little bit harder, a little bit more involved, it's a little bit more vulnerable. And so a lady that I was dating at the time, she got this thing that was like, I can't remember what it was called. It was like, what was it? It's like this little funnel. It was like a Hergo, I think it was called or something like that.
Seen them.
Yeah. And it's exactly that. It's like a system for helping like equalize the playing field so that women can go to the bathroom out in the wilderness or like on a pit stop on the side of the road without the same vulnerability.
All right, guys, we're going to get this podcast back on track for a minute.
That's interesting though, because like, again, like, hey, that's a product that solves a particular problem in the world.
So
showing up. Why is this on the top of your mind? You texted me the other day and you're like, I got this topic. I'm ready to go hard.
So, you know, it's really rough for me to talk about this because I want to believe, I really do want to believe that people want to change. I really do. I really think that they genuinely have a need to be supported, to get help and all that stuff. But, you know, when I sign up for something, maybe it's part of like my new, since I've been sober, like I don't break promises, but like I am in it. And when I'm in it and you're not in it, or we schedule a podcast, you don't show up, or we schedule a coaching call and you cancel last minute, or you don't show up, or you're not there, it really chaps my ass, man, because time is the only thing that we really have. And as I hate to sound rude, but as I continue to go on down the road and my business gets bigger and bigger, my time is more and more valuable.
No, it's not.
It's always been valuable. Is that what you're going to say?
It's exactly as valuable as it always has been. You just have you are putting a higher value on it now, right? Because you know what you could be doing with it alternatively, where you could be spending it. The problem is that most people do not understand the value of their time. And by not showing up what that's doing, they're not making that decision consciously. They're doing it reactively. And so this idea like my time is worth more, like, yeah, monetarily, it might be worth more, but it's worth more to you now because you're aware of what the alternatives you could be doing with that time is. Whereas most people, they don't go through that thought process. So their time is all just equally wastable, right? Like when you go into the mindless Facebook rabbit hole or Netflix chill binging for hours on end, it's because you're not really looking at the opportunity cost of what you could be doing. And if you don't face that, then you don't have to acknowledge that. But the cost is always being paid. It's just now, Austin, you're starting to become more finely in tune with just how valuable all of our time is.
It's super important because I made a conscious decision. I talked to Mark yesterday, and I'm dead serious about this. We talked about this with the podcast. We talked about this with meetings in general. Moving into the new year, starting next month, every meeting, every podcast gets 15 minutes cut off of it. I want everybody to be super efficient with their time. We don't need to be wasting it with extra, like everything. I want to get super efficient. And isn't that why people bring on assistants and BAs? So they're doing the highest dollar productive hour that they could be doing, because when you're buying apartments, Anthony needs to be buying apartments because that's a bigger need, right?
Again, I want to push her.
God, you're fucking pushy today.
I'm pushy.
I know. It doesn't mean that you weren't 100% right on the first point. So I'm already stewing on that. Yeah, very stewing on that. So very, very eloquent put.
And this isn't just for you. This is for all of us. We got to be very careful that we don't get into the trap. I'm a systems guy, and I'm all about efficiency and productivity and maximizing our return on life. That's my shtick.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But we got to be really careful that we're not equating efficiency with effectiveness. We can get a lot done, and we can move really rapidly between the things and get all the podcasts recorded and blah, 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 blah. But if we're trying to be effective, what does that look like? It might be different. Like if what we're trying to do is have a deep, meaningful, heartfelt conversation that can transform lives,
it needs to be longer.
It might need to be longer. It might need to have more space for things to organically appear, right? So you can't just put that into the machine sometimes.
So actually what I've realized what I'm seeking, and I've already come up with the answer this morning. I don't have a day that's my creative read, learn day. And I think that's what's I'm missing lately. I feel like I'm doing, not learning or creative. That's the difference.
Yeah. And this is interesting. This is something that I think I've talked about this probably on this podcast, is my 3 to free. So my mornings, I have my morning routine, and I think everybody more or less has a morning routine, whether or not they acknowledge it and it's intentional or not. But let's put aside the fact of like waking up early and working out and meditating, all that stuff. Like, put that aside. What happens after I go through all of my physical self-care, my mental self-care, my reflection and my meditating, all that stuff? Put that aside. What comes next is a 3-hour block where it's almost impossible to get me. You can't call me, you can't schedule me during this time, because that is my breathe and create time. And it's the most important time that I have in the day. And that's why I don't let anybody intrude on it. Like Austin knows this, like it's really, really difficult to get me before 10 a.m. because I'm creating. And when I have that time allotted each day, it gives me space to breathe and not to feel rushed and not to feel like the outside world can get in and impede what I'm doing, because I've created this fortress around it. Now, if I want to use that time to go and record podcasts and say, I'm going to record a 1 hour long podcast and I'm going to dive in, that's how I create, then cool, I can do that. And I don't have to worry that I should be doing something else during that period. And it's really valuable. I call that my 3 to free. So the 3 tasks that if I get those done, I look back and I've won the day. Well,
it allows you to be you completely, right? Mm-hmm. It's your, like, because so much of what I am is, what I need to be for the hotel or what I need to be for my clients. And anytime I'm not feeling, and it's like, I'm not like, I'm good. Like business is still great. Life's good. But like anytime I don't feel creative is when I feel like I'm stuck, when I don't have those and it doesn't mean I have to act on those ideas. That's not what I'm saying. The business ideas. But the only time I ever feel stuck is when I don't have the creative juices flowing.
And the problem with creativity, and we know this, I talk about this constantly. Creativity is the most important skill. It's these things. Like, it's the ability to combine two pieces of information or more and combine them in new novel ways. That is like the definition of a success of entrepreneurship. It is fundamental. And yet we don't have good processes for developing our creativity or allowing our creativity to flourish.
Dude, it all come full circle. I just had a breakthrough. It's not me being upset that they're not showing up. I'm not showing up for myself in the way that I need to. That's where the frustration comes.
Yep. Because it is frustrating when people don't show up, right? Like, and this is like, we talked about this. My social post today is all about this topic, which is, yeah, you're right to be frustrated that people aren't respecting your time in the way that you want them to. Right. But at the end of the day, it is your job to ruthlessly guard your time and your mental energy and what you're doing with that. And this is why, you know me, like, I have if you're not here in 5 minutes rule, like, I'm moving on. And you know this, like, you're not saying that you've missed things, but you've been part of group things where people have not come. And then I'm like, I'm out and I'm not accessible. Like, people will text me and call me like, oh, I'm on now, I'm sorry. And like, I'm already moved on to that next thing because I will give you that time. And this is where setting boundaries is very important about what you will accept. Like, people will only treat you how you allow them to treat you. So if you allow them to treat you by not showing up, then that's how they're going to do it. And if you say, well, you don't get to do that, well, then they won't, or you'll move on to the next thing and it won't matter. And that's, for me, is having that next thing ready to go where it's like, hey, if they don't show up, this is what I'm doing with this time. And so the only person who misses out is that person. It's that client who they don't get your coaching. Okay. That only hurts their life. That doesn't affect me. The podcast guest that didn't show up, that only hurts them. They don't get access to our audience. We don't get to have this amazing conversation. But during that time, I'm still going to create. I'm going to do this instead. Right. And so net, like, the only person losing out by not showing up is the person who's not showing up. And you and I, we talked about this too, where you're like, showing up is so easy. Like, these are the people that we're competing against, are people that aren't showing up. And I was like, dude, I'm not competing with those people. Those people are trying to get to my level. I'm competing against the people who do show up, right? When you don't show up, you're not even in the game. Like, I'm over here playing in the playoffs. These people aren't even in the game. Showing up is step one to getting in the game. And if you won't show up for a podcast, for a call, for whatever it is that you're committing yourself to, if you're going to break that promise, not just to like the person on the other end, but to yourself, you're not in the game. And we can't even talk about what it means to be successful if you can't get your butt into the game.
Wow. Thanks. I needed that. Thank you for the therapy session, Coach.
My check will be in the mail.
Guys,
I accept payments and bagels.
Guys, in order to even be in the game, you got to show up. In order even to have the opportunity to get better, to get the real estate deal, to have the conversation, to have the breakthrough, you have to show up. So make sure that you're doing that. I hope this has struck a nerve, because it did with me. And send it to somebody that you think will get some value from this. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us here at the Brain Dump. Now, before you go, it's important to solidify what you've learned here today by taking action. If all you do is listen, then you're only going to retain a small amount of the information you consumed here today. So take a quick moment to really lock in any key insights, tidbits, or pieces of wisdom that you want to carry with you into the future. You can do this by heading over to iTunes and leaving a review with your top 3 takeaways from this episode. If you've already left a review, first, thank you so much. Second, it's time to start a Brain Dump journal. It doesn't have to be fancy, just a slip of paper will do, where you can record a couple quick thoughts from each episode. Science shows this is one of the best ways to ensure long-term retention of new information. And finally, if you've got a brother, a sister, a coworker, or a best friend that you think would benefit from this episode, do them and us a favor and share with them this episode. Your support, as always, means the world to us.